Today in our travels, we're going to be driving through Death Valley. I didn't plan on spending a lot of time here. I've been to Death Valley in the past, and yeah, I'll probably go back again in the future. Of course, on this particular trip, Scotty's Castle was closed. That's the famous ranch back on Death Valley, which was one of the earliest structures in the United States to actually have air conditioning. Very funny. I have toured that in the past, but it was closed for now. Death Valley does offer free car camping as long as you're in certain locations. You can get the details there. It's the only national park I know of off the top of my head that does. There may be more. If you know of more, please let me know in the comments down below so I can keep that in mind. But that being said, Death Valley is absolutely spectacular. And if you've not been there before, it's worth taking a trip. But do it in December like I did here rather than June like I did the last time. Well, we've made our way over to Death Valley, and what's behind me here is called Zabraskis Point. A really cool spot. So I already went up to Dante's Overlook, very appropriately named, and was not able to film anything up there because the incessant winds and the fact it was so cold. So yes, Death Valley does indeed get cold. It is December. It's not overly crowded. The parking lot here does have some people. It's not overly crowded though here. This is the middle of December, probably an ideal time to visit this spot because it's not all that cold. Or it's not all that hot rather. Last time I was in Death Valley, it was June, and it was 87 at night and 121 in the day. So if you don't like heat, December's good. It's about 50-ish now, and it's still about 9 in the morning. So it's going to get up to about 65. This is the Badlands Loop hike trail, about 2.5 miles through these amazing Badlands. A little steep here at the very beginning, so we'll see what it is later on. We're walking down here in the Badlands Loop, and I got to this spot here where there's these darker rocks. So these are volcanic rocks. So there was volcanic activity here, which we see at some of the peaks. And this is kind of what we see in here. Very volcanic type rocks. Definitely a different style and type that we're seeing. There's still a little bit of brittleness to them there. But it is definitely the result of volcanic activity right here. So we're in a little vein as we run through the Badlands. Is the occasional plant. I've seen about 10 of them. So not a lot growing here in Death Valley for obvious reasons. Cherokee marching on the trail of tears. Having left Dante's View and then also walking the Badlands in Zabraskis Point, the next spot I wanted to get down to is going to be Badwater. Now, Badwater is right in the center of the actual Death Valley itself. There is pretty much no vegetation left at this point in time, and the entire area goes down to the hottest spot, I believe, in the country. And Badwater itself is so named because it actually holds in water because of the high salt content. So it is yet another one of these inner salt seas, kind of like the Great Salt Lake. Only this one a little bit smaller. Now, Badwater is actually right underneath Dante's View. So what you saw in the earlier part of the video, looking down into the valley, we are now in that valley, now looking up. We have to understand Zabraskis Point, as I recall, is about 5,000 feet above sea level, and this spot down here at Badwater is about 500 or so feet below sea level. In fact, we'll see an image of on the mountain, there's a little sign that indicates where sea level is, and that's way up there. So this is definitely a fun spot to hit down here in Death Valley if you get a chance to go down to Badwater. And then we're going to go up and hit a few other spots before we leave. So right here, we're still in Death Valley, and no, I'm not walking on ice. This is a mat of salt. So this is Water Basin. And it is super highly concentrated salt, enough that yeah, I'm pretty much just walking on a layer of salt. So no, it's not that cold here. It's about 55, 60 right now. Again, it is in the middle of December, so that's good. And it's actually a rare cloudy day as well. But a little bit of sun peeking out, but this is just quite incredible. The scenery is definitely more incredible than the Great Salt Flats over at Salt Lake City. This one is significantly smaller, but the backdrop of the mountains right on the Salt Flats is definitely nicer view here. And also, we'll point out behind me here, you can see that little thing there, that little white dot in the middle, that is sea level. So we are like 250 something feet below sea level. So that little sign up there on the side of the cliff. And this mountain up here is where Dante's View is, at the top of this. That's 5,000 feet. And then the highest peak is over there. I forget the name of that one, but that's 12,000 feet. On the way back from Badwater, make sure that, well, if you're in a small enough vehicle, you go down the Artist's Pallet. There is a size restriction for the vehicle that can go out for justifiable reasons. There are a lot of tight turns inside of canyon cliffs, and so your car's not going to have a problem. I'm not going to have a problem with my van. Some larger RVs will have a problem. But Artist's Drive is absolutely spectacular. There is one big outtake called Artist's Pallet, which is comprised of a variety of different mineral salts that are different colors, and every time it rains in the valley, then which by the way is not frequently, then those will actually shift around a little bit, and so it looks different every time you see it. So it is absolutely amazing to go and look. The drive itself is one way, and it's paved road, so it is certainly worth going in and taking the little detour for it. And then once you leave Artist's Pallet and Artist's Drive, you're pretty close to the main visitor center. And don't forget, you can top off your waters there. There's a full service. There's even a gas station there too, which is kind of fun. And there's basically a full service town called Furnace Creek, right in the middle of Death Valley, that you can go and have a look at. So don't forget to stop by Artist's Pallet. An old gold mine. Here we are at the Mesquite Sand Dunes. There's no trails in here anywhere. You can go wherever you like. Obviously, the largest ones are way out yonder. There are indeed some people over there. And you can see it is a very well-traveled place, not like the Kilpecker Sand Dunes that we talked about over there in Wyoming. But this one is pretty nice, pretty impressive. Not quite as big as that one, but it does have a little bit taller dunes, and very nice. It's a very nice place to be, so very cool. Well, I think we're finishing up our travels to Death Valley here at the Mesquite Sand Dunes. And I don't know, this is neat because this is one of the first things I saw the first time I came to Death Valley a decade ago. In fact, we brought a thermometer with us, and at 9 in the morning we stuck it in the ground, and it was like 95 degrees. That was, of course, in the summer. If you like heat, Death Valley is a good place for heat in the summer. December, it's just on the edge of needing to wear a jacket, so it's near the end of the day, middle of December, and I would say it's about 55 degrees or so here, so not too bad for December especially. It is a little bit more well-traveled here in the wintertime, I think, than it was in the summer. I remember many people being here at all in the summer, obviously. But it is a cool place to visit. Now, we only hit a little bit. Right now, Scotty's Castle is closed. I believe there's some flooding down there. So for the season, they have it closed out. And there's a bunch of other things. Like this place is huge. You could easily spend a couple of days in Death Valley. There is also free camping in the middle of it, not too far from where I'm at the Immigrant Pass. It's one of the few national parks that has free camping in the middle of it. But there is some there, in addition to several campsites on the grounds as well. So it is absolutely worth going to at some time. Just decide, is it more worth it for you in the summer or in the winter? But it is definitely a cool place to be. So thanks for coming along on our brief trip through Death Valley. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. Hit that notification bell, and we will see you a little bit further down the road.